check, check. Check. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Are we live? Yep, it say we live. Man, I gotta get me an intro. Gotta get me an intro. Peace to the fam. How y'all doing this morning? Some would say grand rising. What it do? It's Brother Lawrence 228. And I gotta get me an intro. Yo, gotta get me an intro. Gotta get me a song. All that stuff together. What I thought about doing is kind of blending what I do, as a profession. I be DJing, I be, getting busy on the ones and twos. I might try to blend that side with, with the information some kind of way. But I gotta get more proficient, with the talking, the rambling, the gift of gab, right? Gab, I think it's Gab. But anywho, today this episode is gonna be basically highlighting a genealogist who I feel like is very sound with her methodology with doing genealogy, tracing your ancestors back to the original people who occupied this land before the European got here. Right. And I mean that's the new move. If you ain't talking about land or acquiring land for the betterment of your family and those to come, maybe the American dream is different for everybody. Maybe it's different. But if you want to call it a calling, it was something that was just on the spirit for me to start my journey. And as well as everybody else that may be on YouTube or whatever platform that you may be using your gift for. And it's to each his own. Not everybody going to get it. Everybody's story is pretty much different. Just like a fingerprint. No finger is the same. So why the story have to be the same? But as of today, it's a blended family. So for some of us, it may be pretty difficult to try to, go back and understand that, history happened. Part of it, as it's been told, it is true. Slavery did happen. It happened. Or else you're gonna have to account for the white people that's already over here. How did they get over here? Right? So when that tumbles, you only, what I'm saying, it's already on the board, what I'm saying? You ain't gotta fight it. It just is what it is. And whenever you're trying to figure out where your family stands within that story, everybody right. Well, not white. I mean, right. Everybody's right. You know, you may have stories that come along with from different cultures, people that's what in the world was that? My kids be downloading stuff on my phone. That was a weird notification. But yeah, man. My journey is been a blessing, man, and it's opened up my eyes. It's like I almost get it. I don't get it, but I almost got it. And what I'm talking about is my family's place in history, right? And I want to create something um that's special to pass on to where those who that come after us will know they don't have to do the work. We doing the everybody do the work for the next generation. Don't have to. That's how the road was paved for us, and that's how it was paved. That's how we will pave it for those to come. And that's the way it should be. Now, I got uh, a G by the name of Angela Walton-Raji. Raji. What in the world? Oh, oh, that's probably downstairs. I thought I was hearing stuff. But anyway, yeah, Angela Walton-Raji. All right, she's been in the game a while, long enough, based off the information that I came across. Um, she's pretty legit, right? And her information resonated with me, and I want to, kind of give you that same information that inspired me. Maybe y'all can go check her out. Hopefully, you get a step closer to your journey. Knock down some doors. You know what I'm talking about? We're trying to knock down these doors, man. It's cool to be in the book, but we need to be in the records. It ain't no way around it when we're talking about getting back land. You need to be in the records. You need to be in the court cases. Hold on, let me try to they might not even be up because it's early. Check, check. See, I need to just keep it simple. I need to just keep it simple. I didn't click something, and it took me off the screen. So now, check, check, check. Just want to make sure it's still recording. Ooh, excuse me. And we live. But like I was saying, like this is one resource who is a website and is by Angela Walton Raji. And let me screen share so we can look at this together. Let me make sure I can. It's a screen share. Check, check, check. 1, 2. All right, y'all. Give me 1 second. Boom. All right, so this is Angela Walton-Raji, and this is her YouTube page. I just want y'all to get a glimpse of who she is. But with her journey, she found an ancestor on the Dawes Rose, and her people was Choctaw freedmen. All right, this is the actual website. Make sure we up and running. Okay, this is the website I wanted you to check out, along with the YouTube page, to give it out. You know, great information about where to look, certain documents, rolls, you know, courthouse records, and this, and everything, all above. She's giving away the jewels, the gems that you're looking for. All right, so shout out to Angela on that. Let's see. In 1997, I launched the Native American website. Actually, before the African Native American website homepage, celebrating the Oklahoma freedmen and all blended families with African and Native American histories. All right, so she's not giving just one perspective. All right, saying that she is Indian. It's a story behind that. Okay, because those of us who may be walking around here today are not necessarily full-blooded Indians. I would assume that, but I could be wrong to a certain degree for sure. I'm not just gonna jump out there like that, but hey, okay, ain't nobody. Um, but yeah, this is she found her family on the Dawes Rose under the Choctaw freedmen. Okay, the Indians, Choctaw Indians, had slaves. They had slaves, and there's documentation out there to prove it. Okay, it's about it's about what you can prove. That's what it's about. It's about what you can prove, and how you can prove it. Is through genealogy and the records, the paperwork, the court cases, the law, right? So she gave a good dive into breaking down all that information to help pass on to your people. Okay, so again, in 1997, I launched the African Native American website. The page had developed out of my research and work with the records that document the freedmen of the 5 civilized tribes. This enormous record set became the basis of my work with Black Indian records, and eventually formed the basis of my book, Black Genealogy Research: African American ancestors among the five civilized tribes. Okay. In the past 12 years, my research has expanded to include the history and documentation of blended African and Native American families in more states. As a genealogist, the focus remains on providing the evidence and properly citing the sources Now, this is big, okay? If you want to have a scholarly conversation about anything, we need to be talking about sources. What are your sources? This is not conjecture. This is not theory. Sources. Okay, so we need to know exactly where we're getting this information from. Okay. So, as a genealogist, the focus remains on providing the evidence and properly citing the sources in order to tell the family. As I've become more familiar with resources for documentation of African American families that were associated with people from multiple Native American communities, I have expanded the focus of my research to include genealogical resources for families beyond Indian territory. Okay. This does not, you know, include just Indian, but some African too. Okay. The focus will remain on relying upon standard genealogical methodology that would lead to the proper documentation of one's family history. The page will be will the page will discuss and include record sets that are essential to construct one's family history. Okay, so you got a thing about examining the dog's cards. All right, let's check out. You got the Indian Freedmen records, and let's check it out. 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 History and genealogy resources. Choctaw Freedmen. See, although checking it out, I'd have been just talking about Choctaw, but this could be this expands all across the Southeast. We're talking about the Creek, Chickasaw, probably some Cherokee stuff up in here. But these are more so built or describing the freedmen, and it's many terms. Well, I don't say many, but it's a few terms. I have a few ideas of what the freedmen are. Um, in my opinion, there are slaves of the Indians. Okay. Now, when we say slave, um, let me just say it can be Indian slave, it can be an African slave, it can be a Slavic slave, you know. So it can, you can have Indian blood and still be a slave. Okay, that kind of clears up. Okay. Yeah. So those who were considered a slave, or not considered a slave, but are slaves and they are considered freedmen. Right. Now, yeah, that's nasty. So Creek, let's go to Choctaw since we talk about my family and stuff. Okay, this information on this page pertains to more than 6,000 Choctaw freedmen found on the Dawes Rolls. Excuse me. The special Indian census of 1910 and 1900, then 1885 Choctaw Roll, and more. There were less than 100 freedmen who left the nation in 1880s, right before adoption. See, we didn't necessarily got to go too far back. They talking about slavery, 400 years, this, and from Africa, this, and the third. We ain't got to go back that far. Okay? This is right on the verge of the, 20th century right here. Right? 1900s, 1880s, right before adoption, who elected to leave due to many hostilities directed towards them in some localities. The vast majority of Choctaw freedmen remained in the land. Okay, not all, not everybody made it to Oklahoma. Okay, some of us, our people stayed in the land they were born on. Okay, where they were born, had lived, toiled, and buried the dead. Okay, many spoke the language, maintained the dietary customs of the Choctaw kin, and many also buried according to Choctaw custom. There are those to this day who deny their existence, others who claim the right to still deny many in southeast Oklahoma their rights as citizens because of the African Choctaw blood. Many of these persons, citizens of a nation that rejects them, are still of the Choctaw Nation. And this page is devoted to honoring their memory. Okay, she got some Choctaw freemen admitted to citizenship, 69 freemen who elected to leave, 1885 died with claims. Some of those coming soon. I actually bought that book too. I just bought it, so I'm gonna post something about that too. We'll do another episode. So that's one. Look at the African Roots podcast, upcoming workshops. Oh, that's 2010. But I remember recent. I ain't gonna say recent. It's been about 6 months. But mm, I say up to 6 months ago. I talked to Miss Angela via email. If it wasn't emails, Facebook, and let's try genealogy videos. I take her to a YouTube page, and she, I was telling her my situation. Um, like hers. So I contacted her on some advice, woo, 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 and she invited me out to this conference. But I don't, it might have happened. It might have been right before COVID, so that's been 8 months. It might have been a year ago. If that conference happened, I think it might have been right when COVID hit or right before COVID, but I wasn't able to make it. But yeah, plenty of resourceful information. Now, some, like on a YouTube page, application jackets. When we're talking about the paperwork in which your ancestor may have filed to be um, an Indian, and classified as an Indian in Indian Territory, Oklahoma. You know, you have these application jackets. We have all kind of resourceful information in it, but this is this is my source from telling me about that. I think the OK history might hint, say a thing or two about it, but you can see by the titles, it's all in the records. Most of y'all know about some of the census records, but let's talk about the courses. 1885. This is around the time where you know a little bit after the time of the United States is being built. So they trying to get back to the thing on site. Okay. So that's genealogy videos. You got the Black Indian burial sites. So you got some Creek Freeman. That's in Oklahoma. And you have at the Sandy Cemetery. Let's see. Bruno Seminoles. Turkey Creek Seminary. Let's maybe just document. I'm trying to track this dude down. Charles Gibson. If that was something that Shady Grove. Nothing. I can't click on it, but that doesn't mean you're not working with some information. All you gotta do is copy that mug right there. Go paste that thing up in the Google. Cause you are. Let's see. Find the grave. There you go. And all the I can't say all, but you can look at these last names on here. Anderson, Maxwell, McKinney, Smith. It ain't too many on there, so it might be a little, boom. Right, so Brazil Cemetery, Rented Grove Cemetery, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw. Okay, everybody open that thing. But with the information, like, okay, located approximately 95 to South Harvard Avenue, Tulsa, County, Oklahoma. And then got some names. Hey. All right, got them Cobras in that thing. Davidson. Got some I seen a Eubank. Hey, that's a lot of Eubank down this way. Shout out to George County, by the way. George County. Yeah, I'm gonna let it go cold with that dirty water at. So yeah, that's I had to check Rented Grove Cemetery, but should give a special thanks. Okay, that was organizations, heritage organizations, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Freedmen Descendants Organization. Let's see what that be like. Let's see what these links looking like. Gotta make sure these links working. Cause we live. You know, do-overs. Okay, Afro Genius. Like they got some science behind that. What is that? Site devoted to African American genealogy. There you go. Now this the thing though, about the Freeman. Unless there's a record out there that counters, I'm gonna have to bring it up, but I know it's through the site where when we were talking about the treaty, how the freedmen were allotted land, 40 acres. So in a nutshell, you could say your 40 acres in the mule went to the you know what I'm saying, to the to the Indians. And it probably already happened. That's why we probably ain't gonna get that, you know what I'm saying, for as like black people in general with this topic. Probably not gonna happen. I don't know. If that's the case where the OG Choctaw slaves, Chickasaw slaves, freedmen, who some were African, some were actually Indian, some was mixed. Okay. All three were allotted lands, 40 acres. Okay, we got to bring that up. Gee, what you talking about? You got where your sources, where your sources, where your sources at? We're gonna come across it, man. But stay on this. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Freeman descendants. We just looked at that. I don't know nobody know. It's a Lutzi. All right, that. Yeah, we just got the black belt. That's in Alabama. Huh? We got a black belt. The Black Belt African American Genealogical Historical Society is a nonprofit dedicated to the study and exchange of information and ideas among the people interested in African American genealogy, family history, and historic preservation in the 12 counties of Alabama Black Belt region, which would include Bullock, Choctaw, Dallas, Green, Hill, Low Indies, Macon, Marengo, Perry, Pickens, Sumter, and Wilcox. And my folks, you already know, Sumter County. And I got to tell the other side of that, because a lot of slaves came through Sumter and Choctaw. Although this is originally Choctaw land, okay? But because, Mobile, coming through Mobile, you know what I'm saying? That was a major port for slaves to ride at right through the county. Right, so yeah. So that's cool. Meetings. I'm gonna have to check out one of these meetings. Somebody I'm gonna support, and I hope it's something we can learn. And I can further. Let's get on out of that. Let's go. What else we got? African American Genealogy Group. I mean, some may think you don't need all this stuff to go find your ancestors. They got that fingerprint up there. I tell you one thing, but that fingerprint something else. If you gotta, who all these folk? Who these folk? Can you click that one? Oh, let's see. Nevada, Indian and Colonial Research. I don't know nothing about that. All right, so they got some genealogy tips. She got a video on there. All right, it's got basic documents, Native American document samples. That ain't right. Okay. Okay. Got some news articles. Hey, Justice Department would not investigate freedmen issues. Cherokee Nation support open and to Congresswoman Diane Walken. The Freedmen Association. Democrats call for probe into freedmen issues. So I don't want to mess with no freedmen. Freedmen descendants state protest. Okay. Woo. How can we help? How can we hold on? So you got oral history. I'd be so seldom mentioned. The records of Mississippi Choctaw are very valuable in that they in that they provide rich genealogical data for many researchers of multiple backgrounds. Thousands of families applied for enrollment as Mississippi Choctaws. Most were rejected, and they came from white, black, as well as Indian families. They also resided in the East and the West. In order to successfully understand the records of the Mississippi Choctaws and to successfully find blended families among them, one has to understand the components of the Dawes roles. Okay, we'll probably check that out in another vid. Many Choctaws, as well as Chickasaws, immigrated to Indian territory in the 1830s. So you got a people who were not native to that land, right? We were taken from the South, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, you know, South Carolina, the Carolinas. All right. Let's see. But many also remained in Mississippi, which we do have to take into consideration. The Curtis Act required the Dawes Commission to create rolls of Choctaws both in Indian Territory as well as one in Mississippi Choctaws. This was a challenge because prior to that time, there had not been a record made in Mississippi of the Choctaws. So prior to 1898, it should be understood that the regular federal census records will be needed to follow a family back in time. When the Dawes Commission began to interview Choctaws in Indian Territory, they had a special challenge because the entire community of Choctaw people were not confined to the territory. All right. There were many who were still in Mississippi. The treaty, many, keyword many, there were many who were still in Mississippi. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek made provisions for removal to the west. However, Article 14 of the same treaty offered those remaining in the territory 160 acres of land and citizenship. As a result, hearings began some 70 years after the signing of the treaty in 1899 to interview and identify those remaining in Mississippi and living among the Choctaw people as Choctaws. Okay. The interview began in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Hattiesburg, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. All right. Yeah, shout out to the bird. And I think they call it Sun Belt. Oh man, they call it a hub city, but they are part of the Sun Belt, I believe. Over there by the Pearl River from not Monticello, Columbia. Yeah, Columbia. Shout out to my homie, big bro, Eric. We do got that Pearl River project in the works. We'll be back up there in Columbia doing this whole Pearl River project thing pretty soon. Okay, we already dropped the behind the scenes of episode 1 out there at the Red Bluff, so make sure y'all go check that out on the channel. Okay, Pearl River Project brought to you by brother Eric and yours truly, brother Lawrence. Okay, so Hattiesburg, stand up. What up? Hit that like button if you don't mind. All right, continuing with the charge to identify Choctaws who met the requirements and who could go to Indian territory and obtain land allotments there. Okay. The interview began in Hattiesburg, Mississippi with the charge to identify Choctaws who met the requirements and who could go to Indian Territory and obtain land allotments there. Okay, so if you Choctaw, whether you thought you was a whatever, you know, they if you pass the thing, the test, you can go. The process of identification relied heavily on the observance of the Dawes inquirers, who made many generalizations. Okay, when I say you can pass, if you can make it past the generalization based on appearance, okay, basically if the person looked Choctaw or spoke the language, he or she was listed. It's important, okay? So if you didn't look Choctaw but was Choctaw, guess what? You wasn't getting you weren't getting no land. You're stripped away just like that. All right. People applied for listing as Choctaw by the thousands. The response from people identified as blacks came from several thousand applicants as well. The records, because that's what we talking about. This show and prove. It's got to be from the records. The records of the Mississippi Choctaws themselves have the same classification as the records of other tribes in Indian Territory. There are the enrollment cards, the application jackets, the final rolls. The interview are intriguing to read and are tremendous genealogical value. And that's the reason why we're getting on to this, because has names on there besides their own. They give the first-hand account, right? The interview, but also in the application, it has a lot of information on there that you can use that's tied into who you are related to. Okay. A majority of those applicants from black families. A majority of those applicants from black families were rejected. Why? Because we didn't look Choctaw. Just based off, you can have that blood, but just because you was dark, brown, copper colored, you were rejected. But the genealogical value of these records cannot be overlooked, and that'd be the reason why the reservations look light as they do, because they didn't Europeanize it. Anything lighter passed. Anything darker was rejected. All right. If it makes sense, hit the like button. But yeah, this part one. We're gonna get into this probably in the next few hours or so. I'm gonna get some design work. And again, do your genealogy, y'all. I got the link in the description. And click it out, explore. Hit me up in the comment if if you're having trouble with something or just wanted to clarify some things. All right. But we are out. Peace.